The world is full of resilient nations, but some are hanging by a thread. While the collapse of a country doesn't happen overnight, there are signs: economic freefall, political instability, civil unrest, and humanitarian crises that warn of a nation on the brink. Today, we're diving deep into the 10 fastest collapsing countries in the world right now and unpacking what exactly went so terribly wrong.
10. Lebanon.
Once hailed as the Paris of the Middle East, Lebanon is now a textbook case of collapse. The country's financial sector imploded in 2019, wiping out life savings overnight. Corruption, sectarian politics, and an over-reliance on imports have strangled the economy. As of now, over 80% of the population lives in poverty, electricity is sporadic, and the local currency has lost more than 95% of its value. A government that can't form stable leadership, coupled with an entrenched political elite, has left Lebanon in freefall.
9. Haiti.
Haiti has endured countless disasters, but recent years have pushed the country to new depths. Since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, the country has descended into near-total lawlessness. Gangs control large portions of the capital, Port-au-Prince. There's no functioning central government, food insecurity is rampant, and basic public services have all but vanished. For many Haitians, the collapse isn't imminent, it's already here.
8. Myanmar.
After a decade of progress, Myanmar reversed overnight with the military coup of February 2021. The junta's brutal crackdown triggered a full-blown civil war, plunging the country into chaos. Ethnic militias and a growing pro-democracy resistance now control large parts of the countryside. The economy has shrunk significantly, the healthcare system is collapsing, and international sanctions have isolated the regime. The future looks bleak unless political reconciliation somehow emerges from the ashes.
7. Sri Lanka.
In 2022, Sri Lanka made global headlines for its stunning economic crash. Years of mismanagement, tax cuts, mounting debt, and a disastrous fertilizer ban culminated in nationwide protests. The country literally ran out of foreign currency, leading to shortages of fuel, medicine, and food. The president fled, and though some reforms are now underway, the road to recovery is long and fragile. The trust in governance has been badly shattered.
6. Sudan.
Sudan's political transition was meant to bring hope after the fall of dictator Omar al-Bashir. Instead, the country plunged into a devastating power struggle between rival military factions in 2023. Full-scale war erupted in Khartoum and beyond, with millions displaced and thousands killed. Infrastructure is being destroyed, famine is looming, and foreign aid agencies can barely operate. What was once a fragile transitional state is now teetering toward total collapse.
5. Venezuela.
Once the richest country in South America, Venezuela has been collapsing for years, but the descent is still accelerating. The combination of hyperinflation, corruption, economic mismanagement, and international sanctions has pushed over 7 million people to flee. Food and medical shortages are daily realities. The black market dominates. Despite sitting on the world's largest oil reserves, the country has little to show for it. Political repression continues, and with Nicolas Maduro still in power, recovery is nowhere in sight.
4. Yemen.
Yemen has been locked in a brutal civil war since 2015, with devastating consequences. Foreign interventions, primarily by a Saudi-led coalition, have caused untold destruction. The country faces the world's worst humanitarian crisis, with over 80% of the population in need of aid. Infrastructure is in ruins, cholera outbreaks persist, and famine is widespread. Yemen is not only collapsing, it's being ground into dust by war.
3. Afghanistan.
After the Taliban retook control in 2021, Afghanistan quickly reverted to an isolated, authoritarian state. Billions in foreign aid vanished almost overnight. Women's rights have been obliterated, and the economy has shrunk by over 30%. Hunger, unemployment, and poverty dominate daily life. International recognition is non-existent, and the Taliban's inability to govern effectively is evident. For Afghans, hope is in short supply, and the future is uncertain. 2. DR Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Despite its vast mineral wealth, the DRC is a paradox of potential and pain. The eastern regions are plagued by armed groups, ethnic violence, and mass displacement. The state's authority is paper-thin in many areas. Corruption is rampant, public services are failing, and infrastructure is almost non-existent outside major cities. The war in neighboring countries spills over constantly, and environmental degradation is accelerating. The collapse is not sudden, it's been a long, slow erosion of state functionality.
1. Somalia.
For over 3 decades, Somalia has been synonymous with state failure. Warlords, pirates, Islamic militants, and fragile governments have cycled endlessly. Al-Shabaab continues to launch deadly attacks, and in many areas, it's more powerful than the government. Droughts and famines regularly devastate rural regions. International interventions have done little to stabilize the country long-term. Somalia's collapse is not a singular event, it's an ongoing condition. What do these collapses have in common? While each country's story is unique, there are striking patterns. Corruption and poor governance are at the heart of nearly every collapse. Over-reliance on a single resource, whether it's oil, agriculture, or foreign aid, makes economies brittle. Foreign intervention or prolonged conflict often accelerates the decline. Climate shocks and environmental degradation add pressure, particularly in the global south. And critically, the erosion of public trust in institutions, from the judiciary to the military, leaves populations hopeless and fractured. These aren't just headlines, these are lives, millions of people caught in systems that are failing them, often through no fault of their own.
Narrowing. Conclusion.
The collapse of a country isn't just about failed systems, it's about failed leadership, neglected populations, and the slow-motion unraveling of hope. The warning signs are clear. The question is, will anyone listen?